Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to a new season of Green and Gold Over Everything. And we are back for season 2 of Green and Gold Over Everything. I'm very excited to come to you today because we are just hours away from the Packers' first game of the season as they take on the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil. And, just kind of excited to see what this season lies ahead. We saw a Packers team last year do some really good things and surprise us at sometimes and make us sad at sometimes, but overall, they gave us a lot of positivity. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's break it out. Let's get down, ladies and gentlemen, for Green and Gold Over Everything here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. It's starting now.
Here's Love. Taps it a couple times. Going end zone. Caught. Dobbs. Touchdown.
From the Atlanta 32. Off the play fake. Love fires over the middle. And it's caught for a first down. And a touchdown by Dontavian Alexander this afternoon. Carr taken down on third down. Kelly Clark, the two-time holdover. 9, second quarter underway. Carr down. Back at the 16-yard line, Rashawn Garrett. Here's Reed. And Reed wins. And Reed got a block and a touchdown. Looking coach's way. Takes it behind. He's sacked by Luke Van Ness. Here comes the Chiefs. Pressure's on. Love. Enzo Robinson. Oh, did he catch that? He did. Dobbs in motion. Love. Flips it to the end zone. Touchdown. Melton's got that one. And Jones running down their face. Fake it to him here. Love. Back foot. Has a man wide open. It's going to be caught by Musgrave. Racing towards the end zone. He is in. Touchdown. Green Bay. 35. Four-man rush. Prescott fires for Cooks. And it's intercepted. Jair Alexander. He's got it. Up on his feet. Racing to the end zone. It is in. Touchdown. Green Bay.
Yeah. New intro for season 2. Thought I'd, mix it up a little bit, get a little new flavor in there, from last year's team. And we got a chance to see a team last year do so many good things. And really they birthed a lot of expectation coming into this year. I'm very, very, very excited to see what this Packers team is going to do this year. It's a lot different. It's a lot different than last year. Last year I came in with, a lot of optimism. I came in maybe a little bit more hesitant, not exactly sure what this Packers team was going to be. But now, after having a chance to see the youngest team in football make the playoffs and see them go into Dallas and decimate the number 2 seed in the NFC, and then on top of that, the following week, actually have a chance to go in and defeat, San Francisco the following week. They had them in their clutches, couldn't pull it off, but youth and inexperience. Now, with that being said, we know that the youth and experience is a little bit older this year, and they also come in probably a little bit more prepared than, a lot of people would have thought they would be coming into this season. A lot of good moves in the off season, some surprising ones, some heartbreaking ones, and we'll get into all that here in just a little bit. But I'm just excited for season 2 of Green and Gold Over Everything. Of course, throughout the year, my guys, Randall Burns and, Deshaun Rucker will be joining me throughout the year. We'll have special guests throughout the year to come in and talk about, the team that the Packers is playing. Like next week, we'll have my man Christopher Lewis, from Sports After Dark. He will be coming in to talk about the Colts game next week. So we got a lot of good things on the horizon for season 2, and just glad to be able to get it in there. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about. We'll start off with the preseason. Let's start off with the preseason, and we got a chance to see a team during the preseason that had some mixed results. That first game, I was truly impressed against the Browns. I felt like the Packers were out there. That's the only time we really got to see the first team unit pretty much out there doing their thing. Jordan Love, it's the last time we've seen him on the field. And Jordan, they just look like they picked up from last year like it was nothing. And I'm like, yeah, buddy. Not trying to get too excited, but it's hard not to when you see the energy that they brought out there just on those couple of drives. And then he throws that bomb to my man, Datavian Wicks. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm ready for the season. They got me hyped. And that was at the beginning of August. And I'm like, man, that's about a month ago. So I'm like, can we get this thing going? But the Packers did get a 23-10 victory over the Browns in that one. Next week wasn't so hot, but the Packers also didn't play a lot of their starters. And it showed. Denver, who drafted Bo Nix, was out there doing his thing, solidifying his starting spot for the Broncos. They won 27-2 in that contest. Then in that final preseason game, I was probably the most impressed because, yes, the Ravens are a team that is going to be a big-time contender throughout the year. And the Ravens did play some of their starters. They didn't play all, but they did play a few. And I was just impressed about how crisp the defense looked in this contest. I was like, wow. And I know it's a preseason game 3, but it made me feel like that the depth that we do have and the players that did make the team that truly deserve to make the team is like, oh my goodness, this team is ready to make some big things happen. So that was a preseason. You finished 2-1. Wasn't too bad. They finished 2-1 last year. But I was mostly impressed about two things, and that one was, how Love and the offense looked so good in that first game. In the third game, how great the defense just came out there. And I felt like they just really showed a different type of energy throughout. And now, we always like to do our players of the game or our MVP. So we got 2 MVPs for the preseason. Our first MVP for the preseason is Emmanuel Wilson. Now, he was also in that mix last year as well, along with Jordan Love. But this time we only did one offense, one defense. And, Wilson really had to step up in order for him to make this team, because there was maybe at the beginning of the preseason, it wasn't looking too hot that he would make this team. Ahead of him, of course, Josh Jacobs, who we'll get into it a little bit later, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, and then the 3rd round pick, Marshawn Lloyd from USC from this past draft. So you had those 3 guys in front of him, and a lot of people were saying that this could be it for Wilson. But just like he did in last preseason, he showed up and he showed out, and he had to. And to benefit him, and you don't want to ever see players go down. We're a little light in the running back room because of it, but Marshawn Lloyd was dealing with hamstring injury, so that helped boost up his standing in that running back room. Then A.J. Dillon, which this one hurts, goes down for the season with a neck injury. And that's something I really didn't want to see. A.J. Dillon is supposed to be a really big part of what this Packers team does over the next couple of years. They signed him to, I believe, a 4-year deal, and I could be wrong on the number, but I believe they did sign him a multi-year deal. And so losing him for the season hurts. Not something that you want to see, but it is what it is. But Wilson, once again, just like last preseason, came in, did his thing, ran the ball well, and I think, for me, this second chance, this second win will be big for him. Now, he'll go into the season probably the number 3 back, but probably the number 2 back until Lloyd is healthy. And we still don't know exactly what Lloyd will bring us yet, but a lot of people, a lot of analysts were hyped about Lloyd heading into the draft. And a lot of people say, hey, the Packers got the best running back in the draft in Marshawn Lloyd. So I'm okay. I'm happy about that. I was pretty cool about that. I said, if that's the case, then that's a good deal. And speaking of draft picks, another guy who did his thing, our defensive preseason MVP, Tyron Harper, who went to Missouri, did a really good job, led he was technically second on the team in tackles. I'm not going to, disrespect Welsh, who is now in Denver. He got picked up by Denver. So I only did the Packers who are on the team for this defensive preseason MVP. And he had a really good preseason, 16 tackles, 10 solo, and a tackle for loss. And it's kind of hard to kind of like judge these things, especially with the way, things can be, with the preseason, with players fluctuating in and out, and you're just really trying to evaluate talent. But he did make the 53-man roster, so kudos to him, and I'm very, very proud of him. Good to see a nice young linebacker. He's wearing that 59, so he does have a little expectation too. I know Campbell left in some, tough ways, for the Packers, and now he's a 49er, so he's part of the enemy, unfortunately. But even with that, I like what I saw from him. I think he did some really good stuff, and I can't wait to see how it looks during the season. And, so overall preseason, like the preseason, thought it got us set up for what we needed to do. We're the youngest team in football. We only have one player over 30 years old on this team. So once again, the youngest team in football, trying to figure out ways. Let's talk about the 53-man roster. And first, we'll go on the offensive side of things with this 53-man. And, of course, you got your quarterbacks, Jordan Love. And this was kind of a surprise. Did not see the Malik Willis trade happening. That actually kind of threw me to left field. I'm still kind of shocked that it actually happened. And Malik Willis came out in that 2022 draft class as a player that some people thought would be a first-round pick. Some people thought he would be the first quarterback off the board. Ends up falling to the third round, did get a start a couple times in Tennessee while he was there, but it just wasn't good enough in a lot of the Tennessee Titans fans' eyes, or, franchise's eyes. And, the Packers decided to make the leap, only gave up a 7th-round pick to get him in there. And so in a place where quarterbacks develop well, in a place where quarterbacks have, we've been able to develop backup quarterbacks and do some really good things and sometimes go off the start. There's talent there. We'll see if Tom Clements and the crew can kind of figure that thing out, and they can figure that thing out and make Malik Willis a great backup quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. So those are your quarterbacks. And they do still have Sean Clifford, who was released initially, but he is now on the practice squad. At the running back, now this made me smile. At the running back position, you got Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, and then Emmanuel Wilson. Of course, A.J. Dillon being on the IR. What hurts about this is that there's no Aaron Jones. I'm not going to sit here. You can call me whiny or whatever, but Aaron Jones for me was one of my favorite players. He exuded what a Packer was, like the passion for being a Packer. It was just absolutely amazing. And I hate that he's not there. I smiled from ear to ear when I thought we were going to have Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones in the same backfield. I said, oh, it's about to get stupid in Green Bay. And a day later, all that changed. And now, unfortunately, and it hurts, Aaron Jones is with the enemy. And he is a Minnesota Viking. Oh, my God, it hurts my heart just to say it out loud. But I'm very excited about this running back room. Josh Jacobs is a big pickup. He wanted to come here because he said he wanted to win. But the second thing that was big for him is the offensive line. And I'm going to skip ahead here. That offensive line with Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, Rasheed Walker, Zach Tom, Jordan Morgan, the number 1 pick for the Packers in this past draft. Sean Ryan, Andre Dillard, who they picked up. I believe it was I can't remember, it was the end of last year or during the offseason. And then y'all can yell at me later for that, but I know we picked him up after the fact. Jacob Monk, Kadeem Tolford, and Travis Glover. Of course, Bakhtiari was released. He is still a free agent. There's talks that he may either end up in, obviously, the Jets was a name that was thrown out there. The Browns has been a name that's been thrown out there. There's been a couple of organizations. The Chiefs are another name that was thrown out there. And I wish that he was still healthy and a Packer, but sometimes you just got to move on. Then we head to the tight ends. and we're going back up. Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, and Ben Sims. Sims had a couple of good moments last year for the Packers during the season. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave, the rookie tight ends last year, now in their sophomore campaigns. Musgrave started off hot. He gets injured. Kraft comes in, does his thing, and at times, if you ask me, probably look just as good, if not better than Musgrave at times. So the Packers have a good young problem at tight end. And then last year, I was probably singing another tone. I was complaining about veterans not being on this team. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still kind of there. I would like maybe a couple of veterans on the offense sprinkled in the primary position. I guess Jacobs is technically a veteran. A.J. Dillon is too. But and the more and more I looked at it, maybe. But in the tight end room, you know how much I screamed about having my guy back with the team, but not having Mercedes Lewis hurt, but it is what it is. But the tight end room is young and talented, so I'm excited about it. And probably the most dynamic, the most talented, maybe I'm stretching it, but the most talented group on the offense is this receiving core. Or maybe they have the best depth. Maybe I should put it that way. Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, if he can stay healthy. Key thing, if he stays healthy, this team is out of control good. But he just had injury problems all last year. Jaden Reed, who the third pick for the Packers in the third round. I'm mixing it up. He was the third round pick last year for the Packers. That's what I wanted to say. Third round pick for the Packers last year, had a great season. And probably a season nobody thought was going to happen, but he was just dynamic all year long. Then my guy, some people say he could be the next Devontae Adams, and I don't want to give him that. I don't want to put that on him. He's an excellent route runner. He is a UVA guy, and I'm a UVA guy. You know, I live in Virginia, so wahoo wah. So it was good to see Wicks have the year he had last year. And you got to think he's the number 4 receiver on this team, and he had a really good year for a number 4 receiver. Malik Heath, also another great year last year. Bo Milton. So that receiving core is top notch in my opinion. I'm very excited to see what they have in store. And then we head to the defense, and on the defensive side of things, you've got at the D ends Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley, and I'm not going to destroy his name, so I'm not just Kingsley. We just 55. That's all I got, 55. Brenton Cox Jr. and Aaron Mosley. Those are our defensive ends. At defensive tackle, you got Kenny Clark, the consummate All-Pro, who we locked in for some more years. He signed his extension right before Jordan signed his mega extension, making Jordan Love the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. TJ Sladen, Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, Kobe Wooden, and on IR right now, Jonathan Ford. So he is designated to he couldn't come back through the year. He's not completely out for the season. Then we go to the linebackers. Linebacker core, young but extremely talented. Quay Walker, who has been a monster in the league. I mean, he's been one of the top tacklers in the league for the last couple of seasons, and he's ready to make another run at it. Isaiah Duffy, who had a good year last year. Eric Wilson, Edrin Cooper, the second-round pick for the Packers, and another draft pick for the Packers, Tyron Hopper. So that's the linebacking core, young but talented. Can't wait to see what they can do. At cornerback, the man who's top 5 corner in the league. At some point, some people said he was the best corner in the league, Jair Alexander. Eric Stokes, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Stokes is probably the biggest what if on this or in this defensive backfield. Like, the injuries have piled up. We've seen small glimpses of what he can do. I think if he's healthy, he can be amazing. He was a first round pick a couple years ago, and it just hasn't panned out only due to injury. So we'll see if that changes this year. Keyshawn Nixon, 2-time All-Pro. He's been doing his thing in special teams and so on and so on. So I'm excited to see his growth this year. Carrington Valentine, who was one of our studs last year in the preseason and made some impact during the season, and Corey Ballentine. So Corey Ballentine rounds out the cornerbacks and the safety position. the man that we brought in, spent big time dough on to come and solidify that safety position, Xavier McKinney from the New York Giants. But now he is Go Pack Go. I'm excited to see him on the field this year, to see with him and the young gun, Javion Bullard, who we drafted from Georgia. Can't wait to see what that looks like on the field this year. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up about what we're about to see in a couple hours. Then you got number 33, Evan Williams, 39, Zane Anderson, and number 27, Kitan Oladipo. I might have destroyed their first name, but And then in special teams, we got Dan Whalen, former DC defender, and Braden Narvison. I know he's the new kicker, and I'm not even gonna destroy Matt's last name, but yeah, they had to really go crazy with these special teams last names. But one of the big problems on special teams has been kicker. Punter, you've been doing a great job, Mr. Daniel Whalen. But kicker has been a problem. Anders Carlson was the kicker last year. He missed some big kicks for the Packers. And he was in a big competition with Greg Joseph, who I thought was making the team as well. But he made the initial 53-man roster, and then he was just gone. And so Braden Narvison, I could be destroying it. If I am, laugh at me later. So Braden is going to be the guy. And Coach LaFleur has shown confidence in the young man, but he's supposed to. So we'll see if that remains true. So that is the Packers 53-man roster, man. And I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up. We're young, but we're talented. That's going to be my phrase for the year. We're young, but we're talented. And I can't wait to see what all of that will look like this season. Now we are ready for the preview. It's time for the game preview. We got the Packers versus the Eagles. So we've got Packers versus Eagles tonight at Corinthians Arena, and that's Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I probably destroyed that as well. Laugh at me later. But this is big. The NFL has been promoting this for months. As soon as they said there was a game in Brazil, they kind of made the announcement early. I was kind of hoping that the Packers weren't going to Brazil, but it will be nice to make sure that I'm guaranteed to see Packers football in week 1. So that part of it, I'm pumped up about, very excited about. But yes, the Packers versus the Eagles to start the season off. That means we'll see Jalen Hurts versus Jordan Love, and they've been advertising it heavy, and we'll get to see that tonight. This is going to be, and some people will say, okay, it's too early to kind of define what this is, but we will kind of get a taste of what this team could be in this contest. We're going to get a taste of that. But it's two teams that, in a lot of people's eyes, could make Super Bowl runs this year. Me, I'm still kind of reserved on the Packers Super Bowl run because they are so young. I want to be able to see, kind of what they can do, throughout the year. I just don't want it to be like, oh yeah, they got it. No, I want to be sure first. So I'm personally going to take it a game at a time to see how this team build. And when we're here on Green and Gold Over Everythang, we're going to make sure that we kind of, nurture the situation like we did last year. Now, we fell off the edge at some points last year, and then we were able to kind of bring it back in. It was a roller coaster last year. Hopefully not too much of a roller coaster this year. But with this game, you've got the Packers taking on an Eagles team led by Jalen Hurts. You got the amazing A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, who signed a big contract in the offseason. They just traded for Jahan Dotson, the former Commander, who was having some trouble in Washington, but now he is close to his home in Philly. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get him going in that 3 spot. And then, of course, the biggest signing of them all on the offense in the offseason was Mr. Saquon Barkley, stealing him from the Giants. And we all know that the Packers, when it comes to running, hasn't been sexy. That's the nicest thing I can say. It hasn't been sexy over the last, 20 plus years. It's hit or miss, like big time hit or miss. And most of the time it misses. So with the new Packers defense and the DC, Jeff Hafley, he has taken over. He's changed. They switched over to a a 4-3, which I'm excited about because the 3-4 have been whooping our behinds for years. So I'm glad to see what that defense is going to look like, against the Eagles, and it's going to be a big first test for this young defense. But their biggest thing is going to be having to stop Saquon Barkley. Because Saquon Barkley is going to be an absolute problem. And if you can shut that down, that's going to help. But then you got a big old problem on the outside in A.J. Brown, which you also got to try to figure out and stop. So, I'm just kind of intrigued to see what that will all be. But let's look at the keys. Let's look at the keys for the game tonight. And this is what the Packers need to do to win this thing. So first and foremost, stop Jalen Hurts at all costs. You got to stop him at all costs. And that's what my guy Randall Burns said. His key is you just got to stop him. And we know what the Packers have seen in the past when it comes to running quarterbacks. Things just do not go well. It just hasn't went well at all. And I want to see it go well, but it just hasn't. So they've got to find a way to contain Jalen Hurts. All that tush push, all that stuff. You got to shut that stuff down, nip it in the bud early. And what a lot of people don't realize is that, Jason Kelce is gone now. That maybe the casual fan doesn't know, but, Taylor Swift's, future brother-in-law is no longer playing. And they've got big changes. Cam Jurgens is the new center for this offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles. So will he be able to maintain things? But yes, first and foremost, stop Jalen Hurts. It's going to be the biggest priority because if you let him beat you, it's going to be a long night in Brazil. Number 2, do not let Saquon Barkley and that running game beat you, which also includes Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley is as dynamic and as dangerous as they can be. We know the Packers' history when it comes to running backs. So it has to be stopped at all costs, no matter what. No matter what. So we got to stop Saquon Barkley. And number 3, and this is offensively here, if you're the Packers, you got to get Josh Jacobs going. He's your shiny new toy. You want to get Josh Jacobs going early and getting that Packer team off on the right foot. And, Matt, you've got to call one of the best games of your life, sir. And I know it's early in the season to be talking like that, but if for Packers fans, you feel like, hey, man, a statement has to be made early. You just got to make a statement early. It's going to be a fun game, but if you're the Packers, you got to look out for these monsters, the Jordan Davises, the Jalen Carters. You got CJ Gardner-Johnson back on that team. And, Darius Slade, Josh Sweat, the defense retooled. They drafted 2 cornerbacks in the draft, and most people thought that they were the best 2 cornerbacks in the draft. And Cooper DeJean, who I just knew Green Bay was going to grab, but then the Eagles jumped in front of us in the draft. I was hot, mad, hot. But I just knew we was going to grab him, but it is what it is. They get Cooper DeJean. Then they also bring in Quinyon Mitchell, who was at times I saw some tape on him, and he was just absolutely amazing. So they retooled, and I mean, not forget Devin White. They also brought in Devin White at linebacker. They retooled. They're ready to go. So it's going to be very important for this Packer team to not make any critical mistakes early, and they have to just get Josh Jacobs going, get this team rolling. I'm excited, man. We got football coming up here in just an hour or so. So be pumped, be ready, because we got Packers football tonight. And then, of course, we got, the rest of the football. I don't care about that. Let's just get to the nice game and hopefully leave out a week 1 with a dub. So now before I get off of here, I just want to kind of give a quick, I'm not even really going to do a prediction. I'll kind of give, and I know technically it's a prediction, but I'm going to kind of give like the range. I think this Packers team this year can go anywhere from, I said strong between, I'm going to say 9 wins to 12. I'm not going to tell you what I had them going. If you want to check that out, you have to go to 101 and watch that episode from last night. And then you can see where I had the Packers going. I just don't want to do it on here because this is, anyway. But if you read between the lines, you can check and see what I was saying. So anywhere between 8 and 12 wins for the Packers. It's going to be a dogfight in that division, though. The Bears are a better team on paper. We'll see if they can, translate that from the paper to the field. The Lions, who have, pretty much dominated us up until that Thanksgiving game last year. They had won 4 straight against us, and we needed that win in order to get to where we were. So that was kind of good to see. And able to, kind of get past that hump. That was nice. But the Lions are going to be, stronger and better this year. They're hungry. They lost an NFC Championship game. They want to win. Now, the Vikings, on the other hand, I have no words. I'm not even going to say nothing negative because then they might come out here and start shocking people. But I don't think they have a really good season. Also, if you want to see where I had them record-wise, you're going to be like, oh, bro, you just salty or you just hate them. Maybe. Maybe. But you can go to one-on-one last night's episode. Go check it out on the YouTube channel. And then that way you can kind of see where I kind of landed on that. Player-wise, I really do think this is a big year for Jordan Love. Obviously he already got paid, but now you have to live up to the money. You have to live up to why you got the money. That's going to be critical right now for Jordan Love into this season. And if he can handle that business, that's going to be vital if he can go out there and do it. And I think he can. Very calm demeanor, interviews and stuff that I watched leading up into, up into the season, just watching how cool, calm, and collected he is. He sometimes does some things he shouldn't have done, like what he did in that NFC Championship game, throwing that ball across his body and finishing off. But I wasn't too mad because one day, San Francisco, we going to get you. Not during the regular season, but in the playoffs, we going to get you when it hurts the most. It's coming. I'm telling you, I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And I'm going to smile. I'm not going to be hype. Well, I'm going to be hype. But I'm just going to sit there and enjoy when it does happen. I think Josh Jacobs can have a really good year, probably the best year of his career if the offensive line holds up and, they do things the right way. He was very excited to be here, and the energy level is just different. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough. I think this receiving core is going to be outstanding. I will give you a little tidbit of what I said on one-on-one last night about breakout players, and one of the Packers players was one of my breakout players, and that's Dontavian Wicks. I think if done right, he could have an amazing year. Now, I was at Pro Bowl year, but it's going to be something that turns heads. And I don't know if that ends up saying that he's so good that the Packers would be like, we can let this guy go next season. That's all I'm saying. That's the type of year that I expect for him. But before I go, make sure y'all go and head over to the Legacy Maker Sports Network and check out all our social media pages. You can check us out on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn at Legacy Maker Sports Network. Then you can check us out on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok at Legacy Maker Sports. Our website is www.legacymakersports.com. Everybody, once again, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Green and Gold Over Everything. I said my guys will be back with me next week. It's been a long time. I can't wait to talk shop with them, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot to say after this first game of the season. So once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. This has been Green and Gold Over Everything, and we will see you all next week for episode 2 in season 2. Peace. Oh, wait a minute. Did I forget something? There is one thing I forgot. I wanted to let you guys know what Matt LaFleur had to say about this trip. I don't know how I forgot about this. So before I run, this is what Matt LaFleur had to say about his team heading to Philly. So this is what he had to say to get you hyped for the night, and then I'm reducing out. All right, everybody, check it out.
Are you spreading anything out, in terms of introducing game plan or anything? Like, if you do anything in Brazil other than just a simple walk?
No, we're gonna get our whole plan in, and then we have a plan for when we get there in terms of what we're gonna do. But our plan will be in by the time we get on the plane. Not to say that it's just like anything. Week 1, I think you might have some ideas for potential adjustments that you're going to kind of hold back, and then in game potentially, I just don't want to bog the guys down with too many thoughts. So I think once the plan's in, and then you just got to be ready as a coach to make adjustments. And it's not going to be anything crazy that we've never done before. And I would expect the same from Philly.
There it is. There it is. So coach is ready. Got the game plan ready. Let's see what he does tonight. All right, Matt. Y'all better get that thing together tonight. Once again, now we can leave. It's Green and Gold Over Everything, episode 1, season 2. We'll see you all next week for episode 2. I'm getting everything mixed up. Let's get out of here.